Hi everyone, welcome to Northern Community House podcast series focusing on Filipino families and community. Northern Community House, niche for short, is committed to building strong, vibrant communities, serving over 20,000 residents in Northwest Toronto every year. We help transform lives by working with people, understanding their needs, and supporting them in achieving their goals. We are supporting youths, parents, and seniors in becoming active, engaged citizens and creating opportunities for residents to improve their lives and lead positive change in their neighborhoods. Okay, so for today's episode, we have Pastor Nestor from the People's Church. So, Pastor, would you like to tell the listeners a little bit about what you do?
So as what was mentioned, pastor ako ng People's Church that's in Bayview and Shepherd, and my responsibility is as pastor for newcomers ministry. Ang role niyan, ang responsibility ko would be to serve newcomers in their process of integration. That would include immigrants, refugees, refugee claimants even. We're also having programs para sa international students and of course mga caregivers, those who are here on a work permit visa.
Okay, thank you so much. So based on what you heard, do you have any thoughts?
Actually, ang problema na yan is something that's common among Filipino families that had a long period of separation. Hindi lang dito sa Canada, kundi those na naging OFWs because there's really a breakdown of family structures. The main reason definitely would be ang time frame in terms of the gap, the time frame between the children were born and the parents had been away for a long time. So it really creates a problem among families because either isang parent lang ang nag-aalaga, then definitely in terms of role models, it would really affect sa mga upbringing and attitudes ng mga bata. If let's say ang ama ang naiiwan, then the role model is the father. But if the father is also doing something funny and wrong way of raising the children, then that means that would be followed by the kids also. And sa mother naman, if the mother is the one who stays, I realized and we have noted actually na mas positive pa ang influence ng mother kung ang mother ang naiiwan rather than ang father. So that's the main issue. Now in the context of Canada, this is also we have to look at it also in that context, but at the same time we need to add also the context of culture. Because we are talking now of two cultures, ang culture, Philippine culture at ang culture ng Canada. In Philippine culture, it's always supposed to be the father who would be the breadwinner and mother would be the one who's nurturing the kids. But sa OFW cases, usually it's either the father or the mother that would be away. So if it is just single parenting, there would always be problems in terms of values, consistency, that there's only one person who's taking care of all of this, both making sure that the kid would really have good values. But in Canada, they also have to adapt to Canadian culture, which is more on self-sufficiency. That means na ang ama at ang ina
nagtatrabaho,
have to work. So pag ganyan ang bata is naiiwan on his or her own. Ang problema pa diyan is that ang bata comes here when the child is already a youth, adolescent. So that kid has already values, and when he comes or she comes here, he tries or she tries to adapt to the values and culture here. So it's an adjustment process for the kid, and it's difficult for the kid. Plus the fact that it's not also culture, it's also about society. Sa Philippines, when their situation is really, it's a poor situation, when they're in a situation of poverty, when they come here, marami ng options and choices.
Correct.
So pag ganitong case, then ang values ng bata would really change. Ang bata becomes more of liberal in a way.
Independent.
Yes, independent, and try to adapt also sa mga values ng mga bata dito. So it's a complex matter, and if we're trying to assign blame, we could not blame anyone, not the kid, not the parents,
even the parent,
not the father, not the mother, because all of them are adjusting.
Exactly.
And
I like your point about role modeling, Pastor, no? Dahil kung lumaki yung bata na nakikita ang tatay na hindi naman gumagawa ng gawaing pambahay, and then wala yung training for a long time na between 5 to 8 years na wala yung nanay,
Mhm.
medyo talagang nahihirapan yung bata to
Mhm.
adjust. And here comes the mom when the kids are already here in Canada, they also wanted to become mother right away.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
if you're a mother, gawin mo tong ito, ito,
Mhm.
ito. So,
Mhm.
parang for the child, parang hindi siya sanay na pinagsasabihan siya
Mm.
ng taong ito, like her
Mm.
mom, na strangers, there were strangers for a long time,
Mm.
and then
Mm.
here they
Mm.
come in the same house na parang nagsasabi sa kanya na gawin niya ito lahat.
Yeah.
So it seems for the kid, it's too much adjustment, right?
Mm-mm. And going back to what you have said, it's really an authority figure. When the kid was growing up, there was no authority figure, and now
Yes.
suddenly this mother or father is here now, and
Yeah.
he's already, or the kid is already a youth. Why would I respect that authority when I have not grown up in that kind of
Correct.
authority setting?
Yeah.
So, problema ko yan. I mean, I
Exactly.
want to be independent. I want to be on my own.
Yeah.
I would not respect you because I have never grown up in that kind of authority setting.
Where in fact, they were independent for a long time.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
sila lang, they worry about anong kakainin nila,
Mm-mm.
they
Mm-mm.
worry about anong susuotin nila when they go to school,
Mm-mm.
kasi there's no mother or
Mm-mm.
either mom or dad figure to help them do that.
Mm-mm.
Kung busy naman din yung isang parent sa
Mhm.
pagtatrabaho sa Pilipinas, right?
Mm-mm. Ang issue ko dito would be between the what's her name, Lenny?
Yeah,
Lenny and the husband who
Yes.
just arrived.
Yeah,
Because why is it that now the husband is not helping
exactly.
when it's supposed to be the traditional responsibility ng ama na mag-alaga sa pamilya, and now
I know.
nandito na siya, iba na yung kanyang ugali.
Yeah.
So I'm really questioning that, but I'm trying to ask also why is the father doing that? Because in the first place, this is also a new experience sa ama. I mean,
Of
ano
course.
na, iba na ang culture, and then that feeling na marami kang choices means na the fact na yung mother has always been the one doing that, why not just she continue doing the stuff that she has always been doing?
Yeah. Or maybe depende din kasi yun, Pastor, no? Kung ang mom na nagtatrabaho dito nagpapadala ng pera and she can afford to hire a nanny in the Philippines or domestic helper to do all their chores, right? Dad doesn't do that. So when he comes to Canada, parang hindi siya sanay na maghugas ng plato. Hindi sanay. I think ito yung mga difficulty ng mga father when they come to Canada. Hindi sanay na maghugas ng plato, maglaba, etc., etc. And I think yung sinasabi mo nga, kung nakikita ito ng bata, na ang tatay nila, kasi they're men, right? They don't have to do all this stuff. So parang ang role modeling, nakikita nila na hindi naman pala ang kumbaga nakadepende na lang sa nanay yung mga gawaing pambahay.
Yeah, that's true. It's really a reflection of Philippine culture, because in the Philippine context, ang ama usually hindi naman naghuhugas ng mga pinggan, hindi naman naglalaba eh.
Yeah.
Usually, even if, let's say, breadwinner ang father, it's still the role of the mother who is expected to do all of this household stuff. Pagdating dito, yung same na values are being carried over without knowing
Yes.
na this is now a different context.
Exactly. Pastor, ang pangalawang tanong natin, how does immigration change the gender roles?
Well, immigration really affects gender roles because, I mean, you are now talking about two cultures sometimes in conflict. In traditional Philippine culture, the husband is the breadwinner, the father is the breadwinner, and the father hindi naman gumagawa ng mga paghuhugas, ng paglalaba. It would be the role of the mother. Pagdating dito, everyone is expected to do all kinds of stuff. Na even if you are working, dapat magtatrabaho ka rin sa bahay, marunong ka maghugas, maglaba. And so it's really an adjustment process. So immigration, in a way, forces the family to change their own traditional way of doing things. So that's one. The second thing would be that we need to talk about gender equality, which is really being really one of the
Exactly.
key values here sa Canada.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, ang ama always ang nasusunod.
Yeah.
That's common. I'm not saying that that's 100%, but generally that's the case.
Yeah.
Pagdating dito, may voice ang ina, ang babae, because number one, siya ang nagtatrabaho, siya ang nagtrabaho dito for all these years, and
Yeah.
then pagdating ng ama, empowered na yung
Yung mother.
babae.
Yeah.
So the mother would really insist on her rights, her role as the breadwinner, and she sees everything on an equal footing rather than na siya lang ang
Yeah.
ang tagasunod ng
Yeah.
inuutos ng tatay.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where some of the conflicts are coming in. Like if hindi sanay ang tatay na ganun yung kalakaran sa bahay na dati siya yung head of the family, siya yung nasusunod. Ngayon, pagdating sa Canada, hindi na. Kasi mas maraming resources yung nanay, mas marami siyang alam, at minsan, let's face it, mas malaki ang kita niya kasi mas nauna siya dito. So, kaya lang nandoon yung machismo ng tatay, no? Yung ang ego niya, hindi pwedeng patatalo. So, other than that, merong adjustment yung marital nila because they're still adjusting on how to complement each other. When the mom is trying to fight for her own right, and at the same time yung tatay traditionally na nandoon pa rin sa kanya yung niya.
I think ang adjustment din dito would be the fact na matagal na naghiwalay sila.
Exactly.
It's like after marriage, you really have to adjust. Start all over again. So ganito ang mangyayari. They really have to adjust to each other again. But they have to do it running, tumatakbo dahil everyone is working.
Exactly.
They have to adjust and they have to live. They have to earn the means for their living. So ang adjustment process really have to be doubled in a way. Ang effort, I mean.
Yeah.
So talaga, ang dynamics changes and then ang pressure to adjust
The pressure is there.
there.
Yeah. And then, hindi ganun kadali, as what you've said, hindi ganun kadali. Kasi, kung tayo sa Pilipinas, palakad-lakad, it's like a walk in the park. Here, it's like you have to juggle.
Pabilisan.
Double your time.
They have to adjust running dahil iba na ang situation dito. All of them have to work and have to earn. Ang situation na to is not only happening among Filipinos. In fact, it's happening even in other ethnicities. In fact, maraming divorce cases dahil dito. They could not adjust anymore sa ganitong setting. And I have been serving immigrants and newcomers, and I have known of so many cases na nag-divorce when they arrived here because it's a totally different setting.
Okay, Pastor, so based on your opinion, how can we break barriers and boundaries within the gender norms in our community?
I would go first step of education, educating the partners, the husbands and wives, about the Canadian context, and also educating particularly the male partner of what's now expected sa kanya dahil bago na ang situation. Paano kayo maka-adjust as husbands and wives? It's like na you need to have your marital counseling as part of the process.
Yeah.
Para may adjustment na mangyayari. And in that counseling context, in that education context, malalaman ng both parties kung ano ng expectations, ang gender expectations, ano ang Canadian context, but ganito ang adjustment na kailangan.
Yeah, and I, as a settlement worker, also pastor, no, I would recommend na kung talagang nahirapan sila dun sa period of adjustment nila, see a settlement counselor or a pastor in your church. Seek support para naman maintindihan nila, at saka hindi lang sila ang dumadaan ng ganitong sitwasyon. May mga dumaan din at naging successful sila dun sa challenges na dinadaanan. So, I think kung meron lang talagang support ang mga Filipino community natin, na meron sila matatakbuhan kung talagang mahirapan na. I mean, we don't want to force them in a relationship where there is violence or where there is suffering, but kung kaya pang mabigyan ng lunas, why not, di ba? So, kaya nga ginagawa natin itong podcast na ito para so we have this opportunity to talk about it and maybe mapakinggan at maintindihan ng mga tagapagkinig natin kung ano ba talaga ang pwede nating gawin sa ganitong sitwasyon.
So thank you so much, Pastor. So before we end it, do you want to add anything else? Maybe an advice or message for the youth, the parents that are experiencing the same thing?
I would address it first sa mga parents, sa father and sa mother. Kayo ang may main responsibility to make this adjustment and to make this family work. That means that kayo ang dapat mag-double effort to make sure that both you and your partner would work well in this new setting. Dapat conversation lang naman yan eh. Dapat counseling or dapat may someone to educate you in this new context. Because you have to understand also na ang anak ninyo is in a situation na totally deprived before of an authority figure. So you have to learn now what it means to be parents, to be authority figures in this new context. Ang bata, susunod lang naman kung may makikita silang magandang role models.
Exactly. And also, Pastor, dagdag ko lang, ang respect natin is hindi yan pinupuwersa sa mga bata. It's something that we need to earn. And if we don't have that relationship with the child, we don't have that bond, hindi tayo nakapag-spend ng time sa bata to build that relationship, medyo mahirap pong mag-utos. Parang, bakit ako susunod sa'yo? Hindi naman kita kilala.
So, dagdagan ko yan. That means na ang authority figure has to be in a different way of doing things now. It's not the traditional Filipino way anymore. Dapat na tingnan ang mga bata as adults. They have to be treated as adults now. And treat them in a way na they are respected. They're not only being cared for, but they are respected, that they have a voice. Kasi I think I have a message also for the youth and also for the parents na with this adjustment of the youth coming into this new context and this new country, they don't have a social support system. There's no more support structure. So ang mga bata, they have to find this support structure. And usually they would find it among their classmates na may mga problema din.
Exactly.
And that's why na nagpapalaboy-laboy sila because ang social support structure is not the one that we intend for them to have.
Exactly.
So ang kailangan sa mga bata would be to have a good support structure. It might be a church youth group, it might be a community youth group that are responsible. Because these youth are trying to find their own way.
Exactly.
And the moment there's no support structure, then they would
find their own,
exactly, their own steps, which even if it is wrong, for them they feel safe in that regard.
And Pastor, you're also saying that to build this support system within the family, pag-usapan muna natin yung family before the external, magsimula talaga doon sa mga parents, kailangang pag-usapan. Lalo na nung last episode na napag-usapan natin, bago tayo aalis or although it's too late to say this, bago tayo aalis or may iiwan natin yung mga bata, kailangan ipaintindi bakit tayo umalis. Kung hindi naintindihan, balik na naman tayo dun sa umpisa na we really have to explain to them in a way na depende sa edad nila. Hindi yung nung iniwan mo sila 9 years old, pagdating dito 9 years old pa rin yung treatment
attitude,
mo. Same attitude na pag isang sabi mo lang, dapat nakinig ka agad. So, as what you've said, treat them with respect. If communication is about negotiating, if communication is about respecting, we have to do it. No? Kasi feeling kasi ng parents kapag sumagot na yung anak, sinasagot na sila. That's disrespectful. Dito sa Canada, if you respond back to your mom, doesn't mean you're respectful. It's just that you have to answer in a way na hindi naman pasigaw, right? But it's okay to respond back.
Yeah, that's true. So this is really malaking pressure ito sa mga families, and as what I've said earlier, it's not just the responsibility of one person. It's not just the responsibility of the mother or the father or even the youth, because they are the ones who have been given that responsibility sa pag-alaga. And then they have to be the one to be provided with that resources first, that education first, before they could convey that sa mga bata. It's a new setting, it's a new experience, new expectation. So every immigrant family just have to adapt to that kind of new situation and learn from that.
Thank you, Pastor.
So thank you so much, Pastor, for taking the time to speak with us today. For comments and suggestions about this podcast, please go to our website, www.niche.ca. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Mom, let's talk. See you on our next episode.